Good morning. Welcome to Time in His Word. Yes, well, today where I delivered at, I'm out in the country, and I've been here a number of times. And when you get off the interstate, you get off the interstate, then you get on a secondary highway. Then when you get off that, you get on a country road. They're paved, but they're not very wide. My truck's 102 inches wide. The right side of my truck is on top of the white line that's on the edge of the road. There's no shoulder. It drops off into a ditch and or into a farmer's field. The left side, the driver's side of the truck, is maybe an inch or so away from the center line, if that. My mirrors almost hang over into the other lane, the oncoming traffic. I only have to drive about a mile or so from when I get off the interstate to where I'm delivering at. But at times, cars will get behind me. And at any time, I could have a number of cars behind me. The speed limit is 55, but I only go about 40, 35, 40 because of how narrow the lanes are. And I'm paying extra special attention to the road in case, because I don't come up here very often, in case there's a rut or something that might catch me off guard and pull me over to the right, into the ditch or into the farmer's field. But the cars will back up behind me and they'll get very impatient. And then where I get up here to turn into where I make my delivery, I've had them, when I turn my blinker on the turn, I glance in the mirror before I turn. I've had them come and whip around me with my left blinker on the turn. Before I even start to turn, they'll come around me and toot their horn and shake their fist at me, because I went so slow, I didn't go fast. A lot of times in life, it's like that. It's like we're on in that narrow lane. We're on pins and needles because of, things going on in our life, or we feel like we've not accepted Christ yet, but we've got that inward battle, spiritual battle going on, just tugging us one way or the other, and you're trying to figure out what to do, and just a whole host of reasons that gives you that feeling. I have went and left this place where I delivered at and went on farther west. Well, there's some places where the road will widen up to the actual where there's a shoulder and so on and so forth. And when you get to those points, it's kind of a sigh of relief because you can relax a little bit and you're not so intense on paying attention to the road to make sure you don't drop the trailer off as you go around a curve. You got to swing wider so you don't make sure you drop the trailer off into the ditch. There's a whole host of issues with narrow roads like that. But in life, when we have something so just keeping us down and we're just bogged down with the troubles of life and when that burden gets lifted, there's that sigh of relief, and we forget about what was causing us all that anguish, because now we're in a, as a buddy of mine used to say, I'm in my happy place. Things are going good, life's looking good. But a lot of times we will forget those ordeals or those troubles that brought us down and really knocked us to our knees. But we shouldn't forget those, because those are character building, those are spiritual building things for our lives, and they're important. They're just as important as when we get to that wide spot in the road and all that burden's lifted and now life's good, life's going great. The two play together and they make us a better person. They make us a better individual. They build our character. They build our walk in Christ. Everything's an ongoing process. And another way to look at it is in Matthew, the 7th chapter, verses 13 and 14. Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter through it. It's just like I said, when we get to that wide spot in the road after traveling on a narrow road, we're so much better. We speed up. Life's great, and it's like that in a spiritual world. We see that broad road, and Satan's throwing all kinds of things at us. We're going to parties, we're doing things, everything against what as a Christian person would do, because it looks good. He's the master deceiver. But verse 14 says, For the gate is small and the way is narrow that leads to life, and there are few who find it. And I've always liked this passage because it describes life completely. Everything in life is our choice. God has given us free will to choose how we want to live and what we want to do. But at the same time, when we do make that choice to follow him, the road becomes narrow. There's not as much. It's still a good time, but it's not like the sinful world. But it's a better, to me, it's a better time. There's less, you still have headaches and troubles with life. You'll never get away from those. But overall, it's a more easy, peaceful life when we choose to follow Christ and let him lead us through life. There's a passage said where he reaches down with his hand and we grab his right hand and let him lead the way. And I always try to remember that daily, to let him lead me through the day, because I know by doing so, the day will be better than if I tried to have led myself through the day.